Hey guys, this is Blake Kitchens and this is Hound Hogs Barbecue, and today I'm going to do a follow-up of the video series I did on the HB250 at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to teach you what I've learned on how to burn a perfect fire in this grill. So let's get to it. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about my experience so far with the HB250. Now, let me just say, we've done fairly well this year. Okay, we've had on our team, and there's 4 guys on our team right now that are cooking on HB250s. We've had 2 first places, 2 third places, a couple other walks, but 2 golden tickets in there, Brianna and Zach, and of course not me yet, but I'm getting there. But this thing has done really well, and I've learned some things about it that I really want to share with you guys. I've talked to a lot of you guys in person at competitions, or maybe you've messaged me directly, but I wanted to put this out just kind of as a whole video, as a comprehensive way of how to get this thing to burn well for a SCA competition. Now, one of the big things that I had said early on was you should only use about a half a chimney of charcoal, and that's somewhat true. Okay, that's not totally true. I don't do it that way anymore, but there's a couple things I've changed. One, I'm using royal oak. I was using some B&B when I could find it, but I found that the smaller briquettes actually seem to perform a little bit better. I've tried Jealous Devil in here. I've not done a whole lot with Jealous Devil in here, so I won't speak too much for them. But Kingsford, it burns up quick, but it runs fine. But royal oak I've been really happy with. I like the smaller charcoal briquettes, and right now what I'm doing is I'm actually running half a chimney of charcoal lit. Okay, and what I'm doing is, you hear people talk about it all the time when they're trying to figure out how to get this thing up to temperature. I've heard it many times. They say take the diverter plate out and then just move your charcoal up higher. You shouldn't have to do that. If you're running your fire correctly and you're getting enough oxygen to your coals, you shouldn't have to take that diverter out. And what I think actually happens, and I'm by no means a scientist, and this may not be right, but this is my guess, is if you get a whole chimney of charcoal in there, this grill is not designed to burn a heaping chimney of charcoal. It barely fits, first of all, when you put it in there. When they're all lit, they're just sucking up so much oxygen that the coals that are under the direct side are actually not burning as hot as they could be. And so what I found is I'm actually getting higher temperatures with using less charcoal. But in order to maintain a long burn, what I've been doing is doing half lit on the left side and then half unlit on or basically I just fill it in the rest of the way once I pour the coals in, on the right side. And so when I do that, that gives me a long burn as I have extra coal to kind of keep feeding the fire, and I'm not burning too much charcoal to where it's not getting the oxygen that it needs. And so that's what we've done that's been really successful. Now, the other thing is while it's heating up, I really do think you guys should put this hood thermometer in here. You got to get a short stemmed one and put it right in the middle so it's out of your way. But when it's warming up, I've got both the front and the back wide open, and I'm watching this thermometer, and I know, because I've run this grill multiple times this way, that once it gets up 375 to 400, my grates are getting to be about 550 to 600. Okay, and once I'm getting close to the 550 range, I go from wide open and I'll choke it down. I'll usually close the right one all the way and leave the left one half open. Okay, it doesn't take a lot of oxygen to maintain. It does take a lot of oxygen for that fire to pick back up. So you don't want to choke it down too early, but you don't want to let it get out of control either. I leave it like that, and then once I put my steak on, probably 2 or 3 minutes before, I might take this and crack it open another 20%. Just to get that extra little bit of airflow in there. Okay, because that steak's going to cool those grates off a little bit. Once we're cooking and we're doing all these things, the next question I get a lot is, have you tried holding it over for a double yet? Can you hold it over for a double, or do you have to just reset? And I'll tell you guys, honestly, I didn't practice it, and I didn't want to do anything I didn't practice, so I was just resetting. I was taking the charcoal out, dumping it in a bucket, and starting over. but we didn't have time to do that at the Hound Hog Steak Shootout that we were promoting, and Brianna was doing the double, and so I actually went over there and just decided to go for it. And I'll tell you what I did. I opened it up. Obviously I got some fire safe gloves, and you guys have to kind of use your own judgment with this. I'm trying to burn the fingertips, the nerves in my fingertips off so that they're not as sensitive, sort of. But you could get like a wrench or something and grab this plate right here and just pull it out enough where you can see what you're doing. Then you want to take like some tongs or something and just shove all your lit charcoal over to the left side, kind of build you your pile right here, and just take a couple handfuls and drop it in there where you need to fill in the gap. Take it, close it back up, close that back down to about right there, about 30-40% open, and just let it ride until you're ready to get going again. Now this thing maintained at like 500 degrees, and I just cracked it open right before it was time to go to get those temps back up, and it ran all the way through the double perfectly. And so yes, this thing can hold through a double, especially if you're using good charcoal. Like I said, Kingsford tends to burn up quicker to me, so I would go Royal Oak or more dense, right? The more dense it is, the longer it's going to burn. And so do that and it will run for a double. Okay, so this thing will comfortably sit 550 to 600 degrees, which is where I like to cook. But one thing I also want to point out is I have had times where the wind has been a factor. And I'll tell you, with this grill, do not try to hide from the wind. And what I mean by that is, let's say that the wind is blowing from that direction and it's coming this way. Don't turn the side of your grill towards it. Okay, because a lot of times that wind's actually doing a swirling motion, and you don't want that wind coming in your back vent. You actually want to face your front vents towards the wind, and you control your airflow by controlling your vents. Don't let the wind control it, okay? Actually, the time that Brianna won first place with this thing, we were having a terrible cook because we were fighting the wind, and we weren't just saying, okay, well, let's face it and let's control it, right? Control what you can control, and what you have control over is these front vents, okay? And so if you run into that situation, face the wind. You're going to burn up your charcoal a little bit faster. Be aware of that, but you should be able to control it with those air vents. And then finally, I think last time I talked about this grill was kind of settling in at lower temperatures. I'm not having that problem anymore. But on the occasion that I do, maybe maybe it's windy outside, maybe it's raining, you know, whatever it may be. I mean, we've experienced a lot of things with this grill at this point. Adjust your time. I would say for every 30 degrees off that you are from your target temperature, I would adjust your time on your turns by 10 seconds. So I shoot for 575. At 575, I'm going to do a minute and 20 seconds per turn. Minute 20 quarter turn, minute 20 flip, minute 20 quarter turn, minute 20 pull and indirect, right? Let's say I'm running 620. Well, I'm about 30 to 40 degrees above. I'm going to drop my time by 10 seconds. So now I'm going to do a minute 10. Well, maybe I'm only running 525. Well, that's 30 to 50 degrees. I may go 130 or even 140 or somewhere in between. Okay, your grill, you know, some people, maybe they get the same exact temperatures every time. I don't, and I don't worry about it because I just adjust my time. I adjust to how my cooker is cooking that day. And so, but for the most part, I don't have that issue, but there's definitely those occasions. So that's pretty much what I've learned about cooking on this grill so far, is that you want to get that fire over to one side, have you some unlit charcoal to make for the long burn, and then let it burn that oxygen at a hotter level than it would burn a whole chimney if it was trying to feed all of that. But other than that, guys, always, if you have any questions, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, or you can just comment on this video and ask, and we'll help any way that we can. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, you know, let your friends who have Hasty Bakes know, hey, this guy helped me out. And we would love to just kind of really help people learn how to cook on these grills, because I don't feel like there's a whole lot of good information out there yet. And so other than that, guys, as always, go out, cook something new, and we'll see you on the competition trail.